In talking about development, you have to consider at least 5 different areas. There's the area of physical health, mental health, how are your relationships, relational health, financial health, how you doing in that area, and then the area of your faith or your spiritual health. And here's a crazy thing about this. You may absolutely be crushing it in your finances. You may be crushing it in your physical health, but you may be crushing it in like business, right? Knocking it out of the park at your job. But how are things going with your wife or significant other or your kids or like family, right? How are those relationships going? You may absolutely, like your social life, you may be like the God Almighty King of everything, but how's that little internal Jiminy Cricket, your conscious doing, like that spiritual self that's a part of you? Are you being true to who you are or not? Quick story. A few years ago, I'm walking through the gym, and this was after I turned my physical health kind of completely around. And out of the corner of my eye, man, I see this guy. He's just jacked, swole, the dude is huge. And I realized the guy was me, and I stopped in my tracks, and I actually teared up and started crying. And the reason for that was the night before, I'd been yelling and screaming top of my lungs at my 11-year-old, my oldest son, my 11-year-old son, Jaden. And I can't even remember why I was yelling at him. I can't remember why I was so angry. I can't remember why I was so mad. 11, man. And so you want to know the real kicker of it? Here's the real internal self-betrayal of it. The real internal self-betrayal was, I've never met my biological father. I grew up in an abusive home. There's alcoholism and drugs and all this kind of thing. And it was just no bueno from start to finish. And so my whole goal was my wife is going to know her husband and my kids are going to know their dad. And so at that point, 5 or 6 years ago, when I'm yelling and screaming at my 11, yes, I chiseled out this physique that could bench heavy, squat heavy, man, like you name it, I could do it, ready to walk on any platform in the country for a physique competition. But none of that mattered if, for me, my core was betrayed, and my core of showing up and being that husband to my wife and the father to my kids. So guys, I want to encourage you, wherever you're at on that roadmap, right, of development and of health, I want to invite you to take an inventory of how you're doing. How's your physical health? How's your mental health? How are you handling the stress? How are you handling, right now, being cooped up and, on house arrest because of stay in order and shelter in place and all that? How are you doing there? How's your relationships with your family? When's the last time you picked up the phone if your mama's still breathing and you had the opportunity to give your mom a call? How are those things doing? So guys, I just want to encourage you, take that personal inventory, how you're doing in those 5 areas of your life. Which areas can you give a little attention to so that they can improve? Which areas are you just automatically, it's just kind of your thing? I want to encourage you to lean into one another. Guys, I hope this helps.